U.S. Patent 4,686,605. Method for altering Earth's atmosphere. Not theory, not speculation. Legal document. Not theory document. They patented a weapon, built it in Alaska, and called you crazy for noticing. Read it yourself. The screen focuses, sharp and unforgiving, on the faded technical abstract of a United States patent filing. It is yellowed, dense with official language, and entirely unsettling. It outlines a method for heating a defined area of the Earth's ionosphere, explicitly stating the goal is to alter the regional weather patterns or intercept communications. The sheer scope of this claim, legally affirmed and rubber-stamped by the United States government, immediately shatters the realm of speculation, moving the secret from fringe theory to undeniable fact. The document details the creation of non-linear resonance within the atmosphere, a terrifying concept hinting at directed power far beyond conventional means, capable of creating sustained, artificial disturbances in the planet's electrical field. It reads like science fiction. Yet the registration stamps confirm its legal, factual existence, complete with approval dates and agency signatures. This document is the smoking implement, the official blueprint for a tactical system they claimed did not exist, a confession typed on bond paper and buried in public record. This facility, built on the remote Alaskan tundra and known by its simple acronym, HAARP, was publicly presented as benign, a harmless project for studying the ionosphere, a tool for pure, academic research, a cover story easily accepted by the media. Yet, the patent, filed years before the project's construction, speaks of control, alteration, and immense power, referencing specific mechanisms for directed energy transmission capable of interfering with global atmospheric stability and communication systems. This fundamental contradiction between the public narrative designed for mass consumption and the legal truth hidden in plain sight is the foundation of the secret, the initial unforgivable lie. The patent is not merely technical jargon. It is the signed admission of a global operation with capabilities that redefine conflict and planetary management. The government's official description of HAARP mentions antennae arrays and radio waves, carefully using words that imply simple passive observation, such as low power and atmospheric analysis, ensuring the public saw only a scientific curiosity with negligible impact. But the patent outlines a vast energy input capability and a method for directing those effects for a specific outcome, detailing a potential output measured in gigawatts, far surpassing any conventional scientific research tool and matching the capacity of major regional power plants. Crucially, the patent explicitly describes the use of crossed-beam antennas to focus the energy into specific, targeted zones high in the ionosphere, allowing for extremely precise manipulation of atmospheric physics. This targeted control is the key to weaponization. The disparity between the public-facing science and the proprietary legal description is the first anomaly, an 800-pound weight of evidence against the official narrative. The technical specification written into the patent ensures that this device is designed not to observe, but to actively manipulate the upper atmosphere, essentially turning the sky itself into a tunable mirror for energy and weather influence, a true act of geoengineering. We follow the trail of paper, a measured investigation that relies on fact, not fevered speculation, relying entirely on authenticated public documents. The search leads to the forgotten work of Dr. Ellen Pierce, a researcher who, years ago, filed a simple Freedom of Information Act request regarding the funding sources for the HAARP project's earliest components. Her request was met with delay, obfuscation, and finally, a reply riddled with redactions. The documents were returned, heavy black bars obscuring the names of early contractors and suppliers, effectively concealing the project's foundational corporate structure and the true identity of its benefactors, a clear attempt to hide the financial roots of the operation. But Dr. Pierce was meticulous. She noted a specific addendum attached to the back of the reply, almost as an oversight, suggesting a deliberate or rushed failure in the censorship process that opened a tiny window into the truth. The addendum was brief, typed on a separate unmarked sheet, and mentioned that a single component, identified only by a 6-digit manufacturer code, was designated as exempt from disclosure under national security. This classification is typically reserved for advanced defense technology or strategic military assets, components vital to the nation's ability to wage conflict or project power, not routine scientific instruments. This designation is the first solid evidence of the facility's true military-grade purpose, proving it was classified from its inception. Why would a piece of scientific equipment, even one destined for an ionospheric research facility, require national security classification unless its function was tied to defense, or more dangerously, to something far beyond simple research, possibly a system of atmospheric dominance capable of changing the geopolitical landscape and achieving global control? The narrator's tone is calm, confident, and measured, presenting this forbidden material not with outrage, but with the cold certainty of a detective laying out irrefutable evidence that cannot be dismissed as opinion. The complexity of the classified component, the structural contradiction inherent in its secrecy, only solidifies the central mystery. The truth is not a guess. It is written in these official anomalies, buried beneath layers of bureaucratic silence and black ink, waiting to be unearthed. This discovery confirms that HAARP was never just a research station. It was an advanced strategic system whose origins had to be erased from the public consciousness and shielded by the highest levels of military secrecy and administrative control. The final line of the addendum lists the initial supplier of that component, Aether Dynamics Corporation. This name, vague and quasi-scientific, is the first real thread of the cover-up. The investigation has now left the safe, documented world of government agencies and moved into the shadows of corporate secrecy, where accountability disappears and vast resources are concentrated. The mystery pivots from what HAARP is to who built it and why they vanished without a trace immediately after the components were delivered. If you want to follow the rest of this investigation and see the full scope of the forbidden evidence, hit subscribe now. The screen opens on a wide, desolate image of a suburban industrial park. The camera slowly zooms in on a nondescript government warehouse, or perhaps a newly constructed community center, with suspiciously fresh paint that suggests a hurried cover-up and repurposing of the building. The address corresponds precisely to the last known legal filing of Aether Dynamics Corporation, the only tangible marker left of their existence. The silence of the location is unnerving. It is the silence of an empty stage after a grand performance, where the actors have slipped away through a secret door. The structure is ordinary, mundane, a perfect place to hide a billion-dollar secret by simply placing something common and harmless on top of it, the ultimate use of camouflage and reverse psychology. Aether Dynamics Corp., the mysterious supplier of the classified component, vanished from the public record in 1995. The year after HAARP became fully operational. The search for its corporate history yields nothing but digital erasure. There are no public business records, no tax filings, and no professional directory entries for the company after that year. The deletion was total and surgical, suggesting access to deep governmental or intelligence resources. It's as if a massive, coordinated digital operation scrubbed the company's existence entirely from the internet and every state registrar's database, leaving behind only the shell of the industrial address and a sense of profound emptiness and impossibility. It is a structural contradiction. A corporation powerful enough to supply highly classified defense components cannot simply disappear without trace unless it was deliberately, structurally disassembled by forces with immense reach, ensuring every digital and paper trail was sterilized and the corporate identity was dissolved into the ether, making recovery nearly impossible. The investigation leads to the state archives, a bureaucratic labyrinth of dusty files and polite obstruction. The narrator attempts to retrieve the physical archives of Aether Dynamics, knowing that a paper trail, being physical, is harder to erase completely than a digital one, and therefore offers the best chance of a hard truth. An official, impeccably polite, explains that the specific files were unfortunately water damaged and removed and destroyed during a minor administrative office flood several years ago, citing a precise date and document accession number that feels far too perfect, a clear, prepared bureaucratic defense designed to be impenetrable and irrefutable. The smooth, easy dismissal raises the personal stakes of the investigation. The attempt to erase the past is active and ongoing. This isn't forgetfulness or incompetence. It's deliberate, structural obfuscation designed to stop any physical inquiry into the corporation's true purpose and funding, using the oldest excuse in the government playbook. The focus shifts to physical documents related to the company's assets. There must be land, a factory, something tangible that couldn't be dissolved by a water leak or a hard drive scrub, something too large to simply vanish without a trace. The search uncovers one single crucial piece of evidence, a partially illegible property deed from 1993, predating the company's disappearance. The deed links Aether Dynamics to a large, remote plot of land in Nevada, an area already known for its secrecy and high-security government testing, suggesting deliberate geographical placement to ensure maximum operational security. Crucially, the purpose of the land is listed not for manufacturing, but for testing and calibration, suggesting the land was used as an active experimental range. The size of the land is enormous, far exceeding what would be necessary for a small-time research firm, suggesting large-scale infrastructural testing and development of massive technology requiring a huge safety buffer. As the narrator analyzes a high-resolution scan of the property deed, a faint, almost subliminal watermark is noticed near the bottom margin. It's not a standard security seal, but a coded reference, AURORA Protocol. This newly discovered term acts as a structural anomaly, a keyhole into the next layer of secrecy, suggesting a designation far grander and more secretive than any single corporation, potentially a cross-agency, classified program encompassing HAARP itself. The tension builds during this slow-burn segment as the investigation relies on painstaking analysis of tiny, almost discarded details found in the oldest, hardest-to-reach documents, proving the conspiracy is built on layers of misdirection. The cover-up is revealed not through violence or confrontation, but through the realization of coordinated, decades-long administrative control across multiple agencies and state lines, a web of silent power. The Nevada land plot is identified as being directly adjacent to a known, highly restricted military airspace and a large, rarely used municipal airport, indicating shared logistics and infrastructure control. The focus shifts from paper evidence to physical, restricted space. The revelation. The HAARP components weren't manufactured. They were secretly developed and tested at a massive, undisclosed site under the umbrella of the AURORA Protocol, the ultimate shadow project. What does AURORA truly mean? Is it a code name for a strategic capability or a shadow group? Your theories belong in the comments below. The desolate landscape of rural Nevada is silent, save for the wind, a silence that emphasizes the forbidden nature of the site. The screen opens on an extreme wide shot, emphasizing the isolation and the sheer scale of the desert, before the camera slowly, cautiously zooms in on a heavily reinforced, unmarked perimeter fence line topped with multiple layers of razor wire and infrared cameras. The investigation pivots from the written word to the physical world, where the secrets are solidified in concrete and steel. This is the forbidden location, the structural evidence confirming the deep extent of the conspiracy, far from any prying eyes and under constant surveillance. The ground is scarred, marked by the remnants of the testing site. These are not traditional buildings, but massive, reinforced concrete foundations, thick slabs, and oddly angled trenches that plunge far below the surface. They are too large, too robust, and too numerous for simple communication or weather monitoring equipment. They look like the foundations for something enormous, designed to withstand tremendous forces, possibly seismic activity, or massive sustained bursts of directed energy release. The first physical anomaly encountered is an old, abandoned, but oversized power substation situated several miles from the fence line. It is rusted, neglected, and yet it is connected only to the fenced-in site via an unnaturally thick buried cable, suggesting a massive, dedicated energy conduit that once fed immense power to the testing area. This structural detail is critical. It proves that the tests conducted here required massive sustained energy far beyond the needs of a normal scientific or defense facility, a power draw that would have illuminated a small city and was clearly designed for high-power operations. The power it drew was beyond scientific research. It was the signature of a strategic defense system designed for global reach and atmospheric manipulation. But the most damning proof wasn't concrete. It was a single, leaked photo. The atmosphere becomes increasingly unsettling, the silence broken only by the crunch of boots on the dry earth as the narrator circles the periphery of the abandoned but powerful installation. The hum of the latent power substation, a constant, unnerving background noise, suggesting potential residual power or monitoring capabilities. The most damning piece of physical proof is the leak. A single, grainy, blurry aerial satellite photo, date-stamped 1994, that surfaces from a protected digital archive, likely captured by a low-orbit reconnaissance satellite and covertly exfiltrated. The photo shows the Nevada testing site when it was temporarily uncovered, displaying a vast, temporary arrangement of antennae structures. Their size and spacing are structurally identical to the later, permanent HAARP facility in Alaska, proving the two sites share the exact same technical DNA and operational design specifications. The evidence is now irrefutable. The technology was developed and tested in secret, disguised under a shell corporation, and required an infrastructure of staggering, concealed power, proving the Nevada site was the true birthplace of the Alaskan facility's capabilities and its weaponized potential, months before the official HAARP groundbreaking. Then comes the sudden realization. While recording near the perimeter, the narrator's equipment captures a sudden, unnerving, low-frequency hum, an infrasound that vibrates below the threshold of normal hearing, the resonant frequency of the massive buried foundations, a deep mechanical pulse. It is not natural wind. It is a mechanical sound, possibly resonance from the buried foundations, suggesting that even abandoned, the infrastructure is still active or under a constant, low-level power signature being cycled remotely as a monitoring system. The full dramatic moment hits when the narrator digitally overlays the structural diagrams of the HAARP patent's proposed dimensions onto the foundation anomalies recorded in Nevada. They are a perfect, terrifying match, confirming the physical blueprint of the tactical system. The final realization is that these foundations were built for a massive, phased array transmitter, confirming the system's true scale and its connection to the patent's description of heating and altering the ionosphere. The forbidden knowledge has been physically accessed and mapped, bridging the gap between paper evidence and physical reality. While attempting to leave the remote location, the narrator's investigation equipment, or vehicle, experiences a localized, unexplained power fluctuation and system failure. The camera flickers, the audio cuts momentarily, and the vehicle struggles to restart. The warning is clear. They know you are here, and they can affect the very infrastructure around you, a silent demonstration of their power to manipulate local electrical fields. The threat is not static. It is active and capable of manipulating local electrical fields, a silent and effective form of intimidation. The narrator is shaken, reviewing the structural evidence against a global map, the evidence secured, but the danger immediate. The camera focuses on the stark, terrifying connection. The Nevada testing site and the HAARP facility are two parts of one larger system, a single global network disguised by distance and bureaucracy. With the ability to influence distant targets with precision, the investigation escalates to the point of no return. We begin overlaying the HAARP facility's activation and testing dates, gleaned from the few unredacted sections of Dr. Pierce's FOIA documents, with a timeline of specific, inexplicable, geographically anomalous weather events across the globe. The correlation is horrifying. Sudden, devastating regional drought spikes, inexplicable microbursts in non-storm areas, and unusual shifts in regional jet streams all coincide with known periods of HAARP's high-power operation, a pattern of calculated, strategic environmental disruption that cannot be explained by natural variation, suggesting a deliberate campaign of climate control. This is the core secret. The patent describes the technology, but the global timeline confirms its operational use as a climate weapon, deployed with terrifying precision against geopolitical rivals or target economies. The technical climax of the script simplifies the core capability of the tactical system. The narrator explains that the device does not create rain or clouds directly, but uses the massive energy input to create a highly localized, focused disturbance in the ionosphere, essentially creating a ripple effect in the upper atmosphere. This disturbance is capable of nudging or stabilizing major atmospheric flows, like the jet stream, effectively controlling where moisture and extreme weather events occur, effectively turning the planet's weather into a geopolitical tool for coercion and control on a mass scale. This capability was not intended for simple research, but for strategic resource control and geopolitical leverage, allowing a hidden group to exert global influence without firing a single shot, controlling economies through engineered drought or targeted floods, ensuring resource scarcity where they desire it. The motive is the ultimate existential question. Not who built it, but why they would risk global climate stability for political gain and economic dominance, turning the very forces of nature against humanity for selfish ends. The investigation has reached its climax. The evidence is complete. The moment is punctuated by a sudden severe intrusion, a direct communication attempt. The narrator's burner phone, secured and off-grid, logs an encrypted message or a strange, brief phone call containing only a single, ominous phrase connected directly to the deepest layer of the investigation. The date of a major, inexplicable climate event. This intrusion confirms that the investigation is being actively monitored by the forces behind the AURORA Protocol and that they are aware of the narrator's current research focus and location, proving the surveillance network is real. The final piece of evidence is a heavily redacted internal memo recovered from a compromised data source. It is dated 1999 and confirms the operational readiness of the HAARP facility just months before a historically significant, inexplicable climate disruption hit a major agricultural region, creating a direct causal link. The memo is a confirmation that the technological capability had been weaponized and then deployed against a specific target to destabilize a foreign economy or nation. The danger has become personal and immediate. The final discovery confirms that the system is not just a theoretical tactical system. It is currently active and potentially influencing the very weather patterns around the narrator's current location, meaning the investigator is now in the operational crosshairs of the world's most powerful secret. The realization, they aren't trying to hide the technology anymore. They are using it, right now, and the narrator is standing in their way, having exposed their greatest secret. The final chapter opens with a fast-paced montage of all the pieces of secured evidence. The patent's title, the Aether Dynamics name, the classified FOIA section, the Nevada Foundation anomalies, and the redacted memo confirming operational readiness. The narrative pulls back, synthesizing the undeniable, chilling chain of evidence into a single, cohesive, and terrifying conclusion. The conspiracy is real, active, and global. The resolution is not a comforting ending, but a terrifying confirmation of ongoing operations. The narrator explains that the HAARP facility is merely the public, visible platform, the technological shell, designed to attract scrutiny while concealing the real power center and its masters who operate in the shadows. The real conspiracy is the AURORA Protocol team, a small, unaccountable shadow organization controlling the tactical system for geopolitical means, operating independently of official government oversight, and using the system to enforce strategic resource control globally, a cabal that transcends national loyalties and operates outside the boundaries of international law, wielding the power of nature itself. The narrator, however, admits the inevitable, lasting doubt. The investigation only revealed what the tactical system is and how it operates. The $7 always avelt interest team down and how it operates. They were watching Rever the Pleasley the $7 were minus friends also. It failed to identify who the specific individuals are in the AURORA Protocol shadow group, or what their ultimate long-term agenda is for controlling the global climate, leaving the motive for this immense risk unknown and potentially catastrophic, hanging over the future of the world. The conspiracy is confirmed, but the conspirators remain hidden in the structural shadows, ensuring the battle for the truth is only half won, and the threat persists, nameless and faceless. This lingering, unsettling question ensures the story continues in the audience's mind long after the script ends, prompting further speculation and fear. In a final monologue, the narrator states that the entirety of the evidence, the patent, the photos, the memos, the infrasound recordings has been uploaded and secured to multiple decentralized servers, making the investigation now public and irreversible. The truth is beyond the control of the Shadow Group, a final, defiant act of transparency that ensures the truth cannot be erased by flooding or digital scrub. But during the patent search, I found a footnote, a name that changes everything we thought we knew about this technology. Just as the narrator prepares to sign off, a final, chilling detail is unveiled. A historical footnote discovered during the patent research. It suggests that the technology described in Patent 4686605 for atmospheric alteration was first conceived and experimented with by Nikola Tesla decades ago, only to be suppressed and secretly rediscovered by the Aether Dynamics group, implying a long-term goal that spans centuries and links back to the dark heart of forbidden science. The final twist. The tactical system is older and more powerful than anyone realized, rooted in the forbidden science of the previous century, suggesting the conspiracy is not a new government invention, but a resurrection of an ancient, dangerous secret handed down through generations of shadow power brokers who sought ultimate control. The conspiracy has deeper roots than the contemporary government cover-up, suggesting an eternal battle for control over the natural world. The atmosphere is tense, the victory hollowed by the immediate, pervasive sense of danger. This truth is too big to be suppressed again. Share this video with everyone you know. It may be the only way to safeguard the future. The episode ends not with the narrator finding safety, but with a profound, unsettling atmospheric effect. As the narrator speaks the final lines, a sudden, inexplicable surge of static interference overwhelms the audio feed, momentarily distorting the narrator's voice and making the message sound broken. The light in the room flickers violently, mirroring the power fluctuations experienced in Nevada, signifying a physical attack on the broadcast signal from an unseen but clearly nearby source. The interference peaks, and the screen cuts to black. The narrator's transmission and security was momentarily compromised, leaving the audience in sudden, unnerving darkness and silence. The truth is out, but the threat remains active, signaling the investigation has consequences that are both immediate and physical, and the forces behind AURORA are watching and listening. If the evidence we uncovered today unsettled you, then the investigation is just beginning. Hit the subscribe button now so you don't miss the next step into the AURORA Protocol. And if this deep dive into the patent and the secrets of HAARP validated your suspicions, please give this video a like to help us keep this vital information visible. The truth is out there, but we need your support to keep digging.